How to read anyone instantly. Improvement pill here. In this video, we're going to cover one of the most important skills you can add to your arsenal. The ability to read anyone in any situation by looking at their body language. Because although we humans have been using verbal communication for thousands of years, our most transparent form of communication is still body language. People can hide their true intentions easily with words, but it's extremely difficult for them to do so with their body. A study conducted by MIT found that it was possible to predict the outcomes of negotiations, sales meetings, and business plan pitches with 87% accuracy by only observing the participants' body language without having to listen to a single word of content. By improving your ability to read body language, you will understand how anyone feels at any point in time. This is an extremely powerful skill as it allows you to make more friends, make more sales, figure out who likes you, figure out who doesn't, and even use these skills on yourself to display more confidence and authority. It's almost as good as having the superpower to read minds. In the first half of this video, you're going to learn how to spot the different forms of body language and what they mean. In the second half, you're going to learn about the 4 rules you have to keep in mind in order to read someone accurately. This is equally, if not more so important, because simply looking at signs is not enough to make an accurate conclusion. As you watch this video, I'd highly suggest you to act out each of these body language signs, because this will help you understand exactly what the particular sign is, what it feels like, and it'll improve your ability to recognize it in others. We'll start with the easiest part of the body to read, your legs and feet. They are considered to be the most honest part of the body, and this is because the feet are usually the first part of the body to react to a change in your environment. On top of that, people who are lying or trying to conceal their real emotions tend to focus on their face and hands, but put little to no effort into changing the way their feet are situated. Happy feet. This is when you bounce or wiggle your feet, and this often indicates excitement or satisfaction. However, this behavior can also communicate impatience. There are many body language signs like this that can mean different things depending on the context around them, and we'll discuss this concept in detail in the second half of this video. Lifted feet. This is when the toes on your feet are pointing upwards while standing, or when one of your heels is lifted while standing, and this usually indicates happiness, excitement, and interest. Feet shifting direction. We turn our feet away from things we don't want or like. People can manually control the direction of their head and torso, but most of the time their feet will point away if they don't want to be there. If you are already talking to someone and their feet suddenly turns away, it might indicate that they dislike something you have just said. But don't take this sign too personally, as there's many cases in which they simply have somewhere to be, such as an appointment or a lunch date. The knee clasp. This is when someone who is sitting places both their hands on their knees and shifts their body forward. This is an indicator that they are ready to leave. How wide of a stance you have while standing is a good indicator of confidence. Someone who is standing with their feet shoulder width apart feels and looks more confident than someone who stands with their feet close together. A general rule of thumb to note when reading body language is that the more space someone takes up, the more confident they are. This concept also applies while sitting. Sitting with your legs apart is a good indicator of confidence and comfort. The standing leg cross. This is when you are standing with your legs crossed, and this indicates that you are extremely comfortable. And this is because by crossing your feet, you'll have a much harder time running away from a threat. This body language sign is a great way to help people around you relax. You'll also find that people will usually cross their legs so they tilt in the direction of the person they like the most, or whoever makes them feel the most comfortable. Shoe play. This is when someone plays with their shoe, such as dangling it or balancing it on their feet. This sign is a flirtatious sign that is used to attract the attention of potential mates. The seated leg cross. This is when you're sitting and you have one foot on top of your thigh. This causes your other thigh to form a barrier and has different meanings depending on which direction this barrier is facing. When someone has their thigh between you and them, it usually indicates that they are not comfortable with you or dislike something you have just said. On the other hand, if the barrier is not between you and them, facing the other way, it means the opposite. They feel comfortable with you and they like what you said. Proximity. Everyone has a personal space circle around them, an imaginary circle in which they are most comfortable speaking with strangers. If somebody likes you, they will allow you to move further into their circle, and they will also try to move closer into yours. The foot freeze. This is when a person has been moving their feet or legs a lot and then suddenly stops. And this usually means that they are experiencing some sort of stress or another powerful emotion. The foot lock. This is when someone who had their legs apart suddenly crosses their feet while sitting, and this is usually a sign of discomfort and or stress. Sometimes people will even do this with the legs of the chair they are sitting on. The next part of your body we're going to focus on is your torso. The torso contains many of the body's vital organs, so your brain will do whatever is necessary to protect this area. And this leads to a ton of very apparent body language signs that you can look out for. The front of the torso. The front side of your body is the most sensitive side, so you will unconsciously shift your torso away from anything that is considered a threat. This doesn't even have to apply in dangerous situations such as a mugging, but also for people you don't like and even topics you don't like. You'll also find that you will shift your torso towards things and people you do like. A good trick to use in an interaction is to face the person you are speaking with. This shows that you are interested in them and the conversation that the two of you are having. Shielding your torso. This covers a variety of signs. Anything that involves the covering of your torso falls under this category. This includes body language signs such as crossing your arms, playing with the bracelet or watch on your other hand, and even holding a book or bag up to your chest. These signs usually indicate a feeling of discomfort or nervousness. Again, it's important to note that these body language signs are not absolute indicators by themselves. Some people are simply comfortable doing things like crossing their arms, which is why you have to look at the context surrounding this body language to make an accurate conclusion, which again we will cover in a couple of minutes. When someone is leaning forwards, it usually indicates interest in the conversation at hand. When they are leaning back and to the side, this usually indicates confidence and can also mean a disrespect for authority. Puffed chest. This is when you stick out your chest and bring your shoulders back. This is usually a sign of anger and/or confidence and is very common right before a fight goes down. It's also important to note that males will puff up their chest slightly around females they find attractive. Shoulder shrugs. This is a very common thing that you've probably noticed along with the phrase, "I don't know." When people are indecisive, they will shrug their shoulders. Smaller shrugs may be harder to spot, but they still indicate doubt. Rounding of shoulders. This is when your shoulder comes up a little bit and closer to your ears. The purpose of this response is to protect your neck from what your body considers to be a danger. This is a clear indication of lack of confidence and a feeling of discomfort. The next body part we're going to take a look at are your arms. The arms are especially useful at displaying authority and dominance, but at the same time, they are also a very transparent way to spot nervousness. Gravity-defying arm movements. When you feel happy or excited, your arms tend to go up. Some examples of this are high fives and fist pumps. When you are feeling confident, your arms will often swing by your side. You'll notice that when your mood is bad, your arms will do the opposite and become lifeless. Restriction of arm movement. This is when you don't move your arms at all. They are stuck at your side and don't move. This is a sign for nervousness as it is in our instincts. Your body is attempting to make you less detectable and a smaller target for whatever threat you're faced with. Arms behind back. This is when you put both your hands behind your back and expose your torso. This indicates power, authority, as well as a desire for distance. You'll usually find powerful CEOs and politicians using this stance. Arms akimbo. This is when you place both of your hands on your hips. This is another body language sign that communicates authority and dominance. This is a sign commonly seen when there's an issue that is being addressed. A good tip would be to use this stance if you find that people have a hard time taking you seriously. The hooding effect. This is when you take your hands and put them behind your neck. This is a territorial claiming body language sign similar to spreading your legs while sitting. And just like spreading your legs, it also displays confidence. Taking up space. Any general spreading of your arms, such as planting your fingers on a desk or putting your arm over the chair next to you, communicates authority and dominance. The next body part we're going to take a look at are your hands and fingers. These two body parts may be a bit hard to notice as the signs are a bit more subtle, but they display a wide variety of emotions very accurately. Hiding your hands. Many of us will unwillingly hide our hands, maybe under the table or in our jacket pockets. This has been shown time and time again to create a very negative impression. Some say it's because back in the day, showing your hands was a way to know if someone had a weapon or not. Shaking hands. This is when your hands shake. Contrary to popular belief, it does not always indicate nervousness. It can also indicate excitement, too much caffeine, focus, and even neurological disease. So it's best to look for other body language signs before jumping to a conclusion. Steepling. This is when someone touches the fingertips of both hands together and spreads them out. Many people in very powerful positions will use this body language sign, like Donald Trump. You can use this body language sign to come off as significantly more confident during negotiations or debates. Thumbs. When your thumbs are up, this communicates confidence, while thumbs hidden, which could be in your hands and pockets, indicates the opposite, a lack of confidence. Genital framing. This is a sign that is more commonly found in men. This is when you hang your thumbs on your belt or pants and create a frame around your crotch area. This is a sign that they are feeling confident, dominant, and is commonly used around members of the opposite sex that they find attractive. Frozen hands. Similar to frozen feet, when somebody suddenly stops moving their hands, this is a clear indication that something is wrong. Hand stroking. This is when someone uses their hand to stroke or rub their other hand, arm, or even neck. And this is what's called a pacifying behavior and is used when there is a great amount of stress to help calm ourselves down. The final body part we're going to take a look at is the face. Now, the face is actually the least accurate part of the body, and this is mainly because people tend to focus on the face when they are trying to hide something. Nevertheless, it is still very important because it gives you more context clues to make an accurate reading. Eye widening and squinting. When you widen your eyes, this means you are surprised, aroused, or even confronted, like right before a fight. When you squint, this usually means you are facing something negative. An interesting combination to note is that when someone widens their eyes and immediately squints afterwards, this means they are internalizing something very negative about a situation. Eye blocking. We will instinctively try to prevent our eyes from seeing negative things. So you'll see people covering their eyes when a car crash happens right in front of them. This will also occur when extremely bad news is shared. Dilated pupils. This is commonly regarded as a sign of attraction. When you see something you like, your pupils will dilate to let more light into your eyes. However, this is not always the case as it's affected by a variety of factors such as caffeine, drugs, and alcohol. The eye flash. This is when you raise both of your eyebrows and let them drop down soon after. This is usually an indicator that you like what you see. Maybe you're happy to see a friend or you like something someone said. Eye contact. Strong eye contact can communicate a couple of very different emotions, including love, anger, and even hate. However, above all, it does display a lot of confidence. People who cannot hold eye contact are perceived as unconfident and unsure about themselves. Blinking fast. When you suddenly start blinking very fast, this is usually a sign of some form of internal struggle. Looking to the side. This is when you tilt your head slightly and you look to the side. This is a huge indicator of distrust or a lack of belief. Smiling. Now, we all know what a smile means, but there's a huge difference between a real smile and a fake one. A real smile will result in wrinkles around the eyes. A fake smile will not. Someone who has a fake smile on is usually faking the emotion of happiness, and this can be caused when they are feeling nervous. Disappearing lips. This is when you compress your lips and form what looks like a slight frown. This is a sure sign of stress. Your mind is telling your body to prevent anything from entering your mouth. The lip purse. This is when you pucker your lips like this, and this usually indicates some form of disagreement. You'll notice this one in group conversations and negotiations. Donald Trump uses this all the time. The sneer. This is when the muscles of your lips pull to your ear. This usually means disgust or a lack of respect for someone. Furrowed eyebrows. This is when you bring your brows together. This signal is a good indicator of concentration or confrontation with something you don't agree with. The nose flare. This is when you make your nostrils widen for a brief period of time. This usually indicates that someone is about to do something that requires a lot of effort. This might be an argument, running, fighting, or even picking up something heavy. Facial blushing and blanching. This is when your face either turns red or white. This change in color usually indicates a change in emotional state. You might be embarrassed about something that was just said, or you might have been confronted with something shocking. Chin up. This is when your chin is pointed upwards, and this is an indicator of how confident somebody feels. Funny enough, the chin will literally fall up and down depending on the level of confidence someone feels. Now, as we mentioned earlier in this video, simply looking at individual signs is not an accurate way to read someone. Here are the 4 rules you need to keep in mind when reading body language. Rule number 1 is to look for clusters. You need to look for multiple body language signs and make a judgment off of the overall picture. For example, somebody who is crossing their arms may not necessarily be feeling defensive. They may simply feel comfortable in that position. However, if they are crossing their arms, have their legs crossed with the thigh between you and them, and they're making strong eye contact, this probably means they're feeling defensive or even angry. Rule number 2 is to look for changes. Someone who has very positive body language such as a wide stance and gravity-defying arm movements, who then suddenly has his arm drops to his side and closes his stance, most likely feels less happy than he was seconds ago. This indicates that he is likely unhappy or nervous about whatever just occurred. Rule number 3 is to look at the context. For example, someone who has very closed off body language like their legs interlocked and their hands in their pockets may not necessarily mean they are feeling unconfident or nervous. It could just be that their air conditioning is way too high. So you have to keep in mind the setting the person is in. Rule number 4 is all about reading mixed signals. Oftentimes, you'll be presented with both negative and positive body language signs. Negative signs tend to be more accurate as people oftentimes will fake positive signs. For example, somebody who is smiling at you with their torso facing you, but their feet are pointing at the door, may not like the conversation as much as you think they do. Okay, look, I know we covered a ton of information in this video, and you're probably wondering how could one possibly internalize all of this info? Well, a good way to practice reading body language is to focus on just one body part at a time. Spend a day or two looking at just the feet of other people, and then switch to the torso, and then the hands, and etc. If you practice reading body language like this, it's possible to become an expert at reading people in a very short amount of time. I hope you guys found a lot of value in this video, as reading body language is one of the most useful skills out there and will help in all of your future relationships and business ventures. If you are interested in learning more about displaying confident body language to seem more attractive, I'd highly suggest you to click on this link right here. If you want to see more videos like this and improve your life, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell icon for weekly videos.